Hello and welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. I'd like to say bonjour to all of my friends, all of my family, and then people I don't even know. Hello, konnichiwa. Thomas Manning joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies. We're happy to have Thomas on the show. And Thomas is like one of these guys on a sitcom. He's a recurring character now. Used to he was a regular, but he's gone off to bigger and better things and doesn't have quite as much time to invest with us anymore right here on Meet Me at the Movies. But we will always invite him back when he's got some good stuff to say. And we've got some good stuff to talk about today, Thomas. Some movie reviews as well as some interviews coming up. But Thomas, first let's dive into this film that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. Ever since I saw the trailer, a film called The Fall Guy, and there are some connections to entertainment past, which we'll talk about as well.
Yeah, I think we had some non-viewer mail about this, asking if this film, The Fall Guy, directed by David Leitch, if there was any connection to the television series from back in the 80s starring Lee Majors. So, Noel, I'll let you take that one. Is there any sort of correlation there at all?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The original series, The Fall Guy, it ran on ABC in the 80s. You mentioned it, from 81 to 86. So it had a 5-year span, but it was a very popular series at the time. Lee Majors, who had just finished up a couple years prior a run as the $6 Million Man, was coming on this series as Colt Seavers was his name. He was a former Hollywood stuntman who actually not just a former Hollywood stuntman, he was a Hollywood stuntman who was moonlighting as a bounty hunter. And so, he would go out there and hunt down criminals. And it was a show that was action, it was adventure, but there was comedy thrown in as well. And I just remember truly enjoying it. And Lee Majors did not take himself too seriously. He had a lot of fun with this particular role on television. And there were always a lot of guest stars that would pop up, a lot of cameos that would pop up on this series. And it was created by Glenn Larson. And Glenn Larson, Thomas, is also the producer for the movie that we're going to be talking about as well. So if you haven't seen the original TV series, go check it out. Track it down. It's well worth your time. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And Thomas is going to tell us about this movie, The Fall Guy, with some faces that you will definitely know.
Yeah, so it does star Ryan Gosling in the lead role as the Colt Seavers character, and it's directed by David Leitch, as I mentioned, who is himself a former Hollywood stuntman, longtime stuntman and coordinator who worked on that side of things for a couple decades, and then within the past decade, he's taken his career behind the camera. He co-directed the first John Wick film along with Chad Stahelski. And Leitch has also directed Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train. So all of those are films that have, watching those and knowing Leitch's background, you can see, okay, a stunt person definitely directed this. And The Fall Guy takes that to the extreme. This is definitely Leitch's most personal film. And but I think what makes The Fall Guy so successful as a movie is it focuses on this romantic comedy aspect between the characters that played by Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, just as much as it focuses on these action set pieces and these stunt sequences, which are all very lovingly crafted, coming from just absolute professionals at the top of their game. But it's just that perfect balance between sincerity and just heartfelt, relatable character moments, and then just spectacle. So that's there's a lot that we can get into further there, but yeah. And Noel, if you want to dive in a little bit, talking about the general story, the general plot that kind of sets up where these characters are.
Well, you've got a stuntman who has got some history with the director, romantic history, I guess, with the director, and there is a star that ends up missing. And I think that Ryan Gosling's character, Colt Seavers, is called upon to track the star down. Correct? Is that where we're headed with this?
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So the star that goes missing is he's an actor named Tom Ryder, who's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. Tom Ryder is kind of a combination of Matthew McConaughey, Tom Cruise, and Brad Pitt, all rolled into one, but not exactly the best parts of all those people. But some parts of those people that you can make a bit of a satirical figure out of. And at where we find Gosling, at the beginning of the movie, he is in the basically having the time of his life, and then there's a sudden incident that basically breaks him physically and mentally and professionally. And then we fast forward 18 months later, he's been out of the game. He's lost his relationship. He's lost his love. He's lost his job. And he's just kind of just a broken man in a lot of different ways. But then this opportunity comes. Hey, he might find a way to get the girl back, get his job back, become a real life action hero. So that's really the central, or multiple central conflicts that are all connected there. And that's another thing I love about it is that the conflict of getting the girl and the conflict of making this movie which serves her career, and also the conflict of simply trying to stay alive in the midst of all this. Those are all intrinsically connected, but he has to solve them all individually. And sometimes solving problems in one area leads to the development of more problems in another area. And it's just a very terrific storytelling formula to watch Ryan Gosling's character juggle all of this. And when you get someone as just charismatic as Ryan Gosling in a role like that, you're set up for success.
Well, it's a film, as I mentioned, I was excited about when I saw the trailer. I remember the original series and remember how much fun that was. And just from the trailer itself, I realized that the pairing with the two leads was going to be solid. The chemistry, if the only chemistry I saw was what was on the trailers, to me that would have been enough. Because I just felt it was there. And also just, Ryan just has had a way of just having a blast with roles similar to this, action roles where he gets a chance to show a little bit of his comic chops. And so I knew it was going to be something that I was going to be drawn to without a doubt. And also my bride as well. I wanted to take Beth to see this for an early screening, but she's a teacher, and it's been kind of this testing week going on. So I decided I was going to hold off and wait and go see this with her for the first time, and I think she appreciated that as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be worth the wait for you whenever you do see it. There's one particular scene that I want to dive into as a sequence that perfectly illustrates everything that works about the Fall Guy. And it's a moment that involves a karaoke. So Emily Blunt's character is singing Phil Collins' song "Take a Look at Me Now," and it's a very pivotal juncture where we think that Gosling is about to win her back, but right when he's about to get there, everything in this other situation with the missing actor kind of blows up, and there's this really massive set piece that you've seen in the trailers where Gosling he's basically water skiing across a highway, except there's no water. It's just asphalt. He's skiing across on the back of like a truck bed, and there's sparks flying everywhere. And
that's what I do on Tuesday mornings.
Yeah, that's how you get
Tuesday morning.
That's just your Tuesday morning commute, I believe. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's how I get to the Arts Council as well, and that's how you get to Gardner Webb. So, but in this moment, as the audience, we with his character's life literally hanging in the balance, we care just as much about whether or not he survives as we do about his relationship with Emily Blunt. We're worried about him, trying to patch things up with her, and we're like, well, if he survives this but doesn't patch things up with her, then well, we're still gonna have this void in our hearts. So basically, I think the love story is just as adrenaline fueled as the action. That's
Awesome.
kind of the best way that I can put it.
So this is one of those films, Thomas, that would appeal when you're talking about quadrant films that appeal to different ages, different races, different genders as well. And so this one really seems to be one of those that could cross over. So maybe a perfect date night film is what it's sounding like.
It absolutely is that, and it's really a perfect movie for movie lovers, and even people who just casually love movies. This film hits that sweet spot. It's obviously extremely meta.
Right?
It's a movie. It's a movie about making movies, and
Yeah.
there's tons of references that general audiences are going to get, but also there's some inside baseball stuff for hardcore movie buffs like us. But it's never at the expense of one group or the other. You're not gonna feel truly left out if you don't get every single reference, because there's something for you no matter what your movie knowledge level is. And I will say there's a direct reference to a certain Michael Mann film that you may or may not have worked on back in the '90s, and it's a very direct reference. And I it was all I could do not to just cheer and clap and just give a standing ovation at that moment. I was watching it, and
Man.
yeah. So I'm very very excited to see your reaction to that whenever you get a chance to watch it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, before we go to the rating, I do want to correct myself. I did get a text earlier in the show. I said that Glenn Larson was the producer for this. Glenn Larson was the creator. Glenn Larson passed away back in 2014, and so I want to correct myself on that. But he was an amazing creator for TV history, things like Battlestar Galactica, Quincy M.E., Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries, Fall Guy, Magnum P.I., Knight Rider, just a whole host of series that he brought to the small screen. But he was legendary. And so, we've seen some of these have gotten reboots on TV as well, like Magnum PI, and so it's pretty cool to see one of his creations making it on the big screen. And I've wondered for years, Thomas, why this wasn't a show that was brought back in some form or fashion, because it really was such a cool concept of a TV series and a cool story. And so it's nice to see that they found a way to bring this to the big screen. And I think, depending on the success of this, we could possibly see a sequel come out of this. And you think that might be a possibility as well, right?
I hope so. I really do. I know that in the past we've seen Ryan Gosling in films that we hope would have gotten a sequel, like The Nice Guys, but other more family friendly films that were released around the same time kind of pushed that box office out of the way, and that's the reason we haven't gotten a sequel to The Nice Guys, and probably won't. I hope we don't have a similar issue with The Fall Guy, because I think this deserves. I really think it deserves a franchise, and I'll keep coming back for this one as many as they make. And if this is the only one we get, then I will keep watching this one over and over as well. So
Awesome. Final thoughts about this. This did premiere at South by Southwest back in March. And also, the Guinness Book of World Records awarded this film because there were the most cannon rolls ever performed by a car. And so this has got the Guinness Book of World Records attached to it as well. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
yeah, it's 8.5 rolls, I believe, which
Wow.
that's like me on Thanksgiving, 8.5 rolls.
That's awesome. Thanksgiving. Man, that's like a Tuesday night for you. Tuesday
yeah,
morning
sure.
and then Tuesday night. That's Tuesday night. Well, Thomas, final thoughts or comments before you weigh in with your rating?
Oh, so I will give a quick shout out to screenwriter Drew Pierce on this film. He's been attached to a lot of projects that you and I have loved over the years. Um, Iron Man 3, he did Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. He wrote and directed Hotel Artemis,
Yeah.
an underrated action thriller that we both love. And he did excellent work on this.
Yeah.
And a
Awesome.
lot of what I described is thanks to what he gave to these characters and kind of translating, the pre-existing characters and translating it into, the filter that we see them through here.
Awesome.
But yeah,
Awesome.
I very, very pleased with the Fall Guy, and it's has a Taylor Swift needle drop, like as if I needed anything more to praise it about. But yeah, it's a perfect start to the summer blockbuster season, and I'm gonna give it a really solid A minus. And
Wow.
yeah, I'll be watching it many more times.
Awesome. A minus for The Fall Guy. You can find that in theaters, and we're inviting you to stick around. We're going to take a quick intermission, and I'll be back. We're going to have a costume change. I'll be back. We're going to have some interviews after the break. Thomas, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate your feedback and your thoughts on The Fall Guy. Check that out in theaters now. Stick around. We'll be right back on Meet Me at the Movies.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a